Assalamu alaikum. I'm Amina Haider, lecturer, Institute of Business Studies. I'm here with the screencast of the course Marketing Management. It's lecture number 14, and the topic that we are going to discuss today is product life cycle and its strategies. Here is the overview of the topics that we are going to cover in today's session. That includes the definition of product life cycle. We are going to discuss the different product life cycle stages and then their characteristic. We would discuss marketing strategy during product life cycle, the strategies that is adopted during introduction stage, during maturity stage, the growth stage and the decline stage, and in the end we would summarize all the characteristics and objectives and strategies. So moving towards our first topic, that is the definition of product life cycle. All products have certain length of life during which they pass through certain identifiable stages. The product life cycle, or in simple words, PLC, is a conceptual representation of product aging process. Like your life is divided into stages, same as life of a product is also divided. So a product life cycle is the amount of time a product goes from being introduced into the market until it is taken off the shelves. There are 4 stages in a product life cycle, namely introduction, growth, maturity stage, and decline. The concept of product life cycle helps inform business decision making, from pricing and promotion to expansion or cost cutting. The newer, more successful product push the older ones out of the market. Overall, the concept of product life cycle is to help business make decision on how to mature and grow in the marketplace. It is important to understand how your marketing tactics and strategies will change depending on the stage your company is in. For example, a brand new product will market differently than a well-established mature product. On one hand, the marketing will focus on raising awareness, and on the other, it will focus on maintaining awareness. So the very first stage of product life cycle begins with product development. It begins when company finds and develops a new product. During this stage, sales are zero and company investment costs add up. The development stage of product life cycle is the research phase before a product is introduced to the marketplace. This is when companies bring in more investors, they develop the prototype, test their product for its effectiveness, and strategize their launch. Due to the nature of this stage, companies spend a lot of money without bringing in any revenue because the product isn't being sold yet. This stage can last for a long time depending on the complexity of the product, how new it is, and the competition. For a completely new product, the development stage is hard because the first pioneer of a product is usually not as successful as later iterations. So, from product development, the product goes into the next stage of product life cycle, that is the introduction. It starts when the product is first launched into the market. Excuse me. Is a period of slow sales growth as the product is introduced in the market. Profits are almost non-existent or low in this stage because of heavy expensive of product introduction. So the introduction stage is when the product is first launched. This is when a marketing team begin building product awareness and reaching out to potential customers. Typically, when a product is introduced, sales are low and demand builds slowly. Usually, this phase is focused on advertising and marketing campaigns. Companies build their brand, work on testing, distribution channel, and try to educate potential customer about the product. If those tactics are successful, the product goes into the next stage, that is growth. So the characteristic of a product being into introduction stage are: here there is low or slow sale, high product price, heavy promotional expense. The reason behind it that the company want to create more awareness, so the promotional expense are increased. There is lack of knowledge. Consumers are not informed, they are not aware of your product. The profits are low, and here the product have narrow product lines. So these are some of the characteristic of introductory stage of the product life cycle. The next stage is the growth stage. It's a period of rapid market acceptance and increasing profits. Product sales start climbing quickly. During the growth stage, consumers have accepted the product in the market and customers are beginning to buy the product. That means demand and profits are growing. Growth stage is when the market for the product is expanding and competition begins developing. Potential competitors see success and want to be in the market. During this phase, marketing campaign often shift from getting customer to buy into the product to establishing a brand presence so consumer choose them over developing competitor. Similarly, as the company grow, they will begin to open new distribution channels and add more features and supportive services. The characteristic of products being in the growth stage are: there is rapid increase in sale compared to the introductory stage. A product becomes improved because you start adding more features and you start adding more supporting services. There is increase in competition because the potential competitors see the market if it's if it's seems to be a successful one, then they start coming into the market, and your number of players in the market begins to rise. Increase in profits, reduction in prices, because your profits start to increase. So because of the per unit so the per unit cost of the product begins to decrease, so your profit margin begins to rise up. Strengthening the distribution channel, like we earlier said, you begin to open new distribution channel as the companies grow. So the next phase is maturity stage. It's a period of slowdown in sales growth because the product has achieved acceptance by most potential buyers. Profit level of Profits level off or decline because of increased marketing outlays to defend the product against competition. The maturity stage is when the sales begin to level off from rapid growth period. At this point, companies begin to reduce their prices so they can stay competitive amongst growing competition. This is the phase where a company begins to become more efficient and learns from the mistakes made in the introduction and growth stages. Marketing campaigns are typically focused on differentiation rather than awareness. This means that the product feature might be enhanced, prices might be lowered, and distribution becomes more intensive. During the maturity stage, products begin to enter the most profitable stage. The cost of production declines while the sales are increasing. The characteristic of products in the maturity stage are the sales increases at decreasing rate. This is where the market becomes more saturated, so your profit margin begins to decrease. Normal promotional expenses, because here you are not spending on to create awareness. Your focus is mainly to differentiate your product. Uniform and lower prices, product modifications. If you want your product to stay alive, you need to do some modification in your product features. Dealers support. Profit margin start decreasing. The next stage 5 is the declining stage in the product life cycle. Is the period when sales fall off and profits drop. Sales decline for many reasons: technological advancements, shifts in consumer taste, and increased competition. A firm must regularly review product sale, market share, cost, and profit trend. Then the management can decide whether to maintain, harvest, or drop the declining product. Unfortunately, if your product doesn't become the preferred brand in a marketplace, you will typically experience a decline. Sale will decrease during the increased competition, and it is at times hard to overcome. Additionally, consumer might lose interest in your product as time goes on. If a company is at this stage, they will either discontinue their product, sell their company, or innovate in some way. To extend the product life cycle, successful companies can implement new advertising strategies, reduce their prices, add new feature to increase value proposition, explore new markets or adjust brand packaging. The best company will usually have products at several points in the product life cycle at any given time. So the characteristics of product in the declining stage are: there is rapid decrease in sale, no promotional expenses, suspension of production work. So these were some of the characteristics of the products that goes through the declining stage. Marketing strategies during product life cycle. Every marketer tries that his product should stay in the market for longest period. Thus, he has to take up various strategies at different stages of product life cycle. He has to adopt different strategies depending upon in which stage of product life cycle he is in. So we will go through all these strategies that are usually adopted by businesses during the product life cycle. Strategy for introduction stage. Make proper advertising before the product is launched in the market. Shorten the period of introduction as far as possible. Heavy advertising and promotional expenses. Usually you start developing your PR, and you more focus on giving gifts and building up your creating awareness of your product and your company. Here you adopt selective distribution and attract discount to dealers. So during the introduction stage, since we said that the strategies adopted by businesses during different stages of life cycle would be different. In the introductory stages, you would either move towards rapid skimming strategy, which is launching the product at a high price, or you would go for slow skimming strategy, where you launch the product at a high price but you lower your promotional level, or you would adopt rapid penetration, where you would launch the product at a low price with significant promotion. During the introduction stage, the business aimed to establish a clear brand identity. They tried to develop with the right partners to so that you are able to promote your product. Price the product or service as high as you believe you can sell it, and to reflect the quality level you are providing. So, like we said, it depends which strategies you are going to adopt. Either it is going to be a rapid skimming, slow skimming, rapid penetration, or slow penetration, depending upon the objective that you want to achieve. If product is technical, then adopt skimming pricing policy. And if product is simple, then adopt penetration pricing policy. Stage strategies for maturity stage. Okay, after the introduction stage, we would see the strategies for growth stage, improve the product quality, add new features, and improve the product style, enter into market areas, reduce the price to attract more number of buyers, increase in promotional activities. Uh, Several product life cycle strategies for growth stage can be used to sustain rapid market growth as long as possible. Product quality should be improved, new product features are added. The firm can also enter new market segments and new distribution channel with the product. Price remain where they are or decrease to penetrate the market. The company should keep the promotion spending at the same or even higher level. Now, there is more than one goal. The growth stage is a good example to demonstrate how product lifecycle strategies are interrelated. In the growth stage, the firm must choose between a high market share and high profit. So, in the maturity stage, the strategies adopted by businesses are they start improving the quality of the product and introduce some new models. Give proper attention to increase the usage among the current customer and also pursue some new uses of the product. They try to convert non-user into user of the product, introduce new packaging and wrapper change policy, lowering to the price to attract more consumer. Middleman margin is increased to create the interest, give proper emphasis on advertising and promotional programs, change in style and design of the product. So when your sales peak, the product will enter the maturity stage. That means that your market will be saturated and you may find that you need to change your marketing tactics to prolong the life cycle of your product. The common strategies that are actually adopted as you start the market modification, that is you start entering new market segment, or you start for product modification, either market modification or you go for product modification. Product for modification is, for example, adjusting or improving your product features, their quality, the pricing. You start differentiating it from other products in the market. Strategies for declining stage. Improve the product in a functional sense. Review the marketing and production programs. Emphasis on cost control techniques to generate profit. Economy packs or models may be introduced to revive the market. Adopt selective promotion of the product to reduce distribution cost. Packaging may be made more attractive and reusable packages are introduced. Research and development efforts are increased to innovate the new product. During this stage, you will see declining sales and profits. At this stage, you will have to decide which strategies to take if you want to save money. You can either reduce your promotional expenditure on the product. You can go for reducing the number of distribution outlets that sell your products. You implement price cut to get the customer to buy your product. Maintain the product and wait for competitor to withdraw from the market first. Or the other option could be that you harvest the product or service before discontinuing it. Another option is Another option for your business to discontinue the product from your offering, you may choose to sell the brand to another business, or you would go for significantly reducing the price to get rid of all the inventory. Many businesses find that the best strategy is to modify their product in the maturity stage to avoid entering the declining stage. This is the reference book for today's lecture. You can go through this and you would have a better idea of product life cycle and the strategies adopted during different stages. That's it for today. Thank you.